That is a place where your embodied leadership and image matters because it helps support your argument. It supports your persuasiveness. It supports your credibility. It supports your goals and your team's goals and your business's goals. So it's in the embodiment of leadership. It is self-leadership. And then it becomes easy to lead others because they want to be around you. They want to follow you. They believe what you say. They can see you're speaking the truth and they want to be with you.
That moment right there, I had to stop and replay it when Katherine said it. Because so often we think leadership starts with strategy, structure, or visibility, but really it begins on the inside. Welcome to UnCeiling You. I'm Dr. Natalie Luke, and this season's all about helping you build your inner foundations and take bold action in networking. In last week's episode, we talked with career strategist Dawn Rasmussen about visibility as a strategy, how to own your story, reframe self-promotion as service, and show up with confidence. Today, we're going one layer deeper into embodiment, what it looks like when your presence matches your message, when your energy says what your resume already does. To help us explore this, I'm joined by Katherine Lazaruk, a leadership and presence coach with one of the most fascinating backgrounds I've ever come across. Katherine holds a bachelor's degree in music and education and spent her early career performing opera and teaching primary students before transitioning into corporate training to help women and men learn to walk, talk, and act like leaders. Her passion is helping people embody their truest version of themselves, their highest self, from how they look to how they speak and how they handle tough conversations that define real leadership. In this episode, Katherine and I unpack what it really means to lead from your whole self, not your title, not performance, but being aligned, in alignment between who you are on the inside and how you show up in the world. So if you've ever felt like you're saying all the right words, but something's feeling off, this episode is your reset. Katherine, thank you so much for being on the UnCeiling You podcast. And I love what you say about yourself. And I'm so excited for this conversation. And what you said about yourself is my philosophy is a whole person, whole presence, meaning that you can't be fully present, fully expressed, or fully seen unless you know yourself well and can help others know you too. And I firmly believe that helping people become their best possible version of themselves is one of the greatest things I can do. And that really, the reason I love it is because it captures so much of what this podcast is about. The UnCeiling You process is all about discovering your best self and learning how to fully live it, then helping others see it and understand it too. And that in part means getting out of our own heads and into our full presence. So let's start here. And here's my first question for you. We've all met someone whose words are saying, I'm confident, but their presence whispers uncertain. And when someone walks into the room and their energy doesn't match their words, how do you help them align the two?
That's a great question. And I agree with you. We all know people like that have that sort of outward bluster and inward insecurity. And the thing is that we are bodily, energetic beings. So when I work with somebody on this kind of thing, I immediately go to where do you feel yourself in your body? How do you feel about this situation? I go immediately to what's the emotional component and content of whatever situation you're entering into, because people can smell bullshit. They know, right? And and it's more important that you know what what you're entering into and how you're entering into it than it is to think about what other people are receiving, because you will never know how you are received. It's impossible, because everyone who's receiving you is receiving them through their subjective filters. And anyone that says that they're objective is incorrect. It's impossible to be fully objective because we all have filters. Maybe on the other side where we're all one and we have one consciousness, I don't know, in an afterlife. But right now we are individuals having a human, we're souls having a human experience. And so when that doesn't match up and someone's words are not aligned with how they're being, I go straight to work on the being first and the beliefs that are driving the actions and the words. Like, why do you believe you need to bluster? Why do you believe you need to say things that you can't deliver on? What's up with that? I go straight for the shadow part.
I see.
I mean, not at first because someone doesn't know me well. It's like we ease into it, but that's generally where you get to the heart of things is when you start to look at your shadow.
I see. So, what shift have you observed in people when they really look at their shadow? And what have they learned and what kind of transformation have they had?
Well, when people deny their insecurity or they deny their brokenness or they deny their feelings of unworthiness, whatever that is, and repress it, whatever is unconscious is going to drive you and you'll think it's external circumstances doing it. Right? It's very Jungian. Like if you want to dive more into shadow work, Jung is a great place to start. But it's looking at all the stuff that our conscious mind does not want. Like our conscious mind doesn't want to mess up the interview. Our conscious mind doesn't want to make a bad impression. Our conscious mind doesn't want to do anything that's not advancing our growth. But there are some beliefs and thoughts and feelings and emotions that are still underneath, that are built in childhood, built from past experience. And those are the things that we need to take a little bit of a look at, because if you don't make them conscious, then they will continue to drive your life. And so the transformations that I've seen, if someone's willing to go in the dark and dig around and be like, okay, I'm totally willing to be perfectly imperfect. I'm completely willing to be someone who messes things up sometimes. I'm completely willing to look at any pain that I'm carrying. I'm completely willing to look at all those things. Then what I see is as those things become conscious, they're like, oh, well, I don't need to carry that, or that's not true, or that's not how people really perceive me. I can actually enter into situations with trust. I can receive the love that's around me. I can see how people see me more clearly. I can get different results. So just changing the energy of you changes the energy of everything around you.
So I could see that, people walk in a room and you can feel the energy, but it's hard to describe what it is that you're feeling. And leadership isn't just what you say, it's something that you carry when you enter the room, in your breath, in your body, and in your tone. What does it mean to embody your leadership instead of performing it?
A lot of leadership in our past paradigm was performance based. So what I mean by that is our leadership model used to be hierarchical, authoritative, and compartmentalized. So work was at work, personal was personal, never the two shall meet. You show up, you put your game face on, you get the results, and that's it. Like it's a very dehumanized way of behaving, a much more mechanized way of behaving, which made total sense for where we were. We were in an industrial age. We were infatuated with machines. We loved efficiency. And I mean, I love a little efficiency for sure. And we loved all the processes and systems. And so that was the way we needed to be in order to function in those environments. And now the leadership model has completely shifted. And we as a society are completely shifting and going up, especially through the pandemic. It was like, okay, we're humans. We're fallible. There's something else going on here that we need to pay attention to. And that structure has started to break away. So now we've moved into this structure that's integrated, relational, and whole. And that goes back to the whole presence, whole person, whole presence philosophy, where when you're thinking about embodying being a leader, it's not just the words that you say, because anyone can say empty words. We see it all the time. It's the way you're acting and it's the way you appear when you show up. And the whole idea of that is to do deep investigation. So it all starts with what I call my 3 C's framework, which is character, congruence, and choice. And it all starts with your character, because I believe that who you are at 4 is who you are at 104. The essence of you, whatever you came to the planet with, does not change. The core of your soul does not change. But over time, you get things layered onto you based on your cultural upbringing, based on what your parents were like, based on what your school was like, what your religious community was like, what your city is like, what your country is like, what the geography or environment around you is like. All of those things put layers on who you are. They become part of your identity. And so if we don't, we can put things on or have things put on us that don't really belong to us. And so then there's a little misalignment and you can feel it. You're like, oh, this doesn't feel quite right. Or I'm chasing something that my parents really wanted for me, or I'm doing this role, but I don't really feel in alignment with what the company is actually doing. Like there's these little gritty bits that we start to notice when we start to do this investigation. So the idea is with character, you know yourself really well, and then you need to live into what that is. So I'll give you an example. When I finished university, I was singing in the opera, and I really wanted to be the third act diva, the dying, fainting couch princess, the save me Alfredo, but I am the naughty chambermaid. I am. I am. My energy is like Sparky. I'm a little bit like Donkey in Shrek. Like I'm full on like disruptor, troublemaker, like that kind of energy. And the difficulty that I had letting go of this idealized egoic thing that I wanted and just sinking into the delight of being the disruptor and how fun that is and how good it feels. Like the change in my bodily expression was instantaneous. It was amazing. Once I just accepted, I'm like, that's not me. I have elements of that, but that's not, I want to sink, I want to go with what is. I want to love what is instead of trying to be something I'm not. So that's the first piece for the embodiment. And once you have that in line, and also I don't want to suggest that this journey is linear in any way, because you come back to pieces of things all the time, but you work on different stuff as you go. Then there's the congruence piece, because we do not live in a vacuum. We're around people all the time. We live in a society. We live in a world. And so the choices that you make for yourself, you need to look at your outside world and go, okay, how congruent, how aligned is who I am with what I'm doing and what I'm saying and how I'm being. And how that showed up for me was as an image consultant, which I really struggled with the whole don't judge a book by its cover, because I believe that that is true. I struggled with the whole fashion industry because I don't love it. I don't like to shop, which makes me a bit of an outlier. And I struggled with all of that. And then I realized I actually love image. That's how I started out in my business, image consulting, before I did other things. I love using that as a vehicle for discovering your identity and expressing yourself in the world. So, but for me, I was like super chunky, funky, be your true self, la, 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 la. And I would get pushback. I got heckled the first time I spoke from stage and was talking about what I had to offer. This woman in the back went, why would I take advice from you? Look at what you're wearing. And it
My
was a
gosh.
beautiful, teachable moment, because I was like, look, I don't want you to look like me. I want you to look like you. And I'm really good at that.
Mm,
And it was an interesting space. So, but it came to my attention that what people expected an image consultant to look like was not how I was showing up.
right.
And even though I am a disruptor and I want to show up differently, I don't want to waste my time explaining why I look the way I do. And so I actually enlisted outside help, because it's very hard for us to see ourselves from the outside. We can't do it. We do need other safe people to help us sometimes. And I sharpened everything up a little bit. Like I was still expressive. I still had my personality, but everything was just a little bit more polished. Everything was just a little bit more delightful. What I was doing previously was like living into this part of myself that loves to be comfortable and loves to be natural, right? And not living enough into the part of me that loves things to be finished, that loves the right glass for the right drink, that loves the beautiful things, that loves like delicious service, that loves like really like chef's kiss perfection. And so, and my friend that drew my attention to that for me was a great help. So what happened was I made that shift and was like, oh, I'm missing a part of myself here. And then my business doubled. And no one
Oh,
ever asks
wow.
now when I say what I do, no one ever questions it. They're like, oh, yeah, that tracks. You look as we expect someone in your world to look. And if you're in a world that expects you to look and behave a certain way and you don't like it, you're lying to yourself somewhere. That either means you're not in the right world, and you need to find a world that suits you better. Or if you really do like the world, you may need to do some acceptance work around, if I'm a lawyer, there are times when I'm going to need to wear a suit. Now, how do I want that suit to be for me? Maybe the suit
Right.
isn't a black suit. Maybe it's a gorgeous floral suit. I don't know. Maybe there's a law firm that really is more open and would work really well for you. But it's this idea of how do I align my insides with my outside world? So you work on that piece. And that also creates embodiment. And then finally, you have choice. You have choice about how much you want to align and how much you want to disrupt. You have choice about where it's going to matter, because image only matters where it matters. Leadership, it
Mhm.
only matters where it matters. So if you are standing in front of your board talking about the decisions that you've made to lead your team, that is a place where your embodied leadership and image matters, because it helps support your argument. It supports your persuasiveness. It supports your credibility. It supports your goals and your team's goals and your business's goals. That's time when it matters. When you're on the beach with your kids, enjoying your vacation, wear the bikini. Let the sun be on your skin. Nobody cares about the rolls. Nobody cares about the cellulite. And if they do, that is a reflection of them and not you. But think about the joy that you're missing out on when you allow that perfectionism and that self-consciousness disrupt your joy, disrupt your life. So it's in the embodiment of leadership. It is self-leadership. And then it becomes easy to lead others because they want to be around you. They want to follow you. They believe what you say. They can see you're speaking the truth and they want to be with you. And as a leader, you want people to be with you. You don't want to be scaring them into submission. You don't want to relax your expectations so much that nothing gets done, but you want them to be with you. And so you need to be with you. And that's what embodying leadership is about instead of performing.
Hey, I want to pause here for a moment. Leadership begins in your body. It's one of those truths that sounds so simple, but it's revolutionary. We're so used to solving everything with our heads, strategy, problem solving, performance reviews, that we forget about our bodies, that our bodies are part of our leadership system. When your body's tight, your breath is shallow, your energy is off, people feel it before you even say a word. So the goal isn't perfection, it's alignment. Here are a few ways to practice that kind of embodied self-leadership. Tip number 1, notice your body signals. Katherine mentioned that she feels constriction and heat when she's out of alignment. For me, it's constriction, like I feel a vibration in the center of me and it's nervous vibration. For you, it might be a racing heart, tension in your shoulders, or a voice that gets sharper than usual. Instead of judging it, just name it. Then ask yourself, what am I protecting right now? Naming creates a space for awareness, and awareness is the first reset. Tip number 2, reset before you react. Before your next meeting or conversation, take 10 seconds for a physical reset. Try what Katherine calls havening. Rub your hands together slowly. Notice the texture of your skin and take a deep breath in, a longer breath out. That physical cue signals safety to your body, which lets your presence catch up to your words. Tip number 3, align before you amplify. Before you speak, post, or hit send, ask yourself, does what I'm about to say align with who I actually am, my higher self? That one moment of self-check keeps your leadership authentic and your communication congruent. And if you want a little deeper, here's a quick reflection exercise. Think about one area in your life, maybe it's work, maybe it's home, where what you project and what you feel don't quite match. Ask yourself, what would it feel like if these two things were in sync? Not look like, but feel like. Just imagining that alignment starts to shift your energy. That's how embodiment begins. Not with a checklist, but with noticing, naming, breathing, and breathing yourself back into truth. I love the full explanation of what you're talking about and not expecting to look like everybody else. I remember when I first got into my career as a young person, I was told to look at the anchors on the news broadcast and try to wear clothes like they do, speak like they do. And that is just not me at all.
And that
There's
doesn't
some,
mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, there's some clothes that I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. But other, I was like, I don't have to be them at all.
No. And it's interesting because when you're looking for models and things that indicate how you might like to be, it's great to look at news anchors, for example, and go, what is it about them? What is the quality that they're embodying that I would like to have? Maybe it's slow and deliberate speech. Maybe it's authority, like that story. Well, it used to be this way. It's not this way anymore, but it used to be that news anchors were reading stories that had been sourced and vetted and backed up by fact checkers. Is it the authority that you want? Is it the polish that you want? Do you want things to be like, what is the quality that you want? And it's this way too for, when you see somebody who has a great outfit, you're like, oh, I wish I could wear something like that. Is it the freedom of it? Is it the pattern of it? Is it the color of it? Is it the way that it looks like it belongs on them?
Mhm.
Is it the way that it flows? Like, what is the quality of it that you like? And then see how is that incorporated into you? How's that incorporated into you? Allow it to inspire you as opposed to making it be a copy. I'm trying to copy or emulate that person. It's like, no, I want to be inspired by that person. So, what is the quality that I want to embody that I'm being called to embody?
Yeah, got it. So, in this particular season, we're talking about networking
Mm,
and interacting with
networking.
folks. And that's where
Yeah.
image and this and presence come together, knowing yourself and then coming with your full self to these conversations. And one of the things that we talked about prior to getting ready for this interview is the need to connect both from a transactional perspective and a transformative. And it's not either or. How do you help someone navigate between making the connection and the goal and making sure that it feeds the soul?
Yeah. Reach the goal, feed the soul. My favorite. Specifically related to networking, I think networking gets a bad rap because people see it as superficial. They see it as, it's a big schmooze fest. People don't really connect. And I disagree because I think you can weave these connections in the smallest amount of time. I mean, how often have you moved through a crowd and caught the glance of somebody and been like, you never have to
Yeah.
talk to them. You're like, I'm connected to you somehow. How often have you gone to get a cup of coffee in the morning and looked your barista straight in the face and like, you're the best part of my day so far. That's a connection. So in a networking event, I often encourage people to go in, and I do this for myself as well. I go in saying, I have faith that whoever I am meant to meet is who I will meet. I do not need to meet everyone. I could meet no one. Maybe just me being, sometimes the party needs you more than you need the party. Maybe me just being here is going to change the room. But I have trust that I will meet who I need to meet. And I also like networking for one genuine conversation at a time. Like when I say to somebody, what is it that you do? They'll say, like, for example, I was at an event last night that was a social event, but also networking at a club that I belong to here in Vancouver. And I met so many lovely people. And it was things like they talked about what they do. And then I'm like, tell me why. Like, why is it that you chose to do that? And then we get onto the purpose conversation and then it just goes crazy. But those conversations feel really beautiful. Like something clicks in them. We're like, we're going to be friends. And it might be something where maybe we'll see each other once a year. Or maybe we'll just be in each other's orbit. But I love this sense of like just being in each other's orbit and kind of going with the flow. So at a networking event, yes, you're absolutely there to meet people. You're there to grow your business. You're there to get involved with the community that you're networking with. And you can do everything you want. You just don't have to do everything right now. If you made one meaningful connection, great. If you made 5 meaningful connections, great. If you made no meaningful connections and you hung around and ate some yummy food and had a drink and had a snack and just enjoyed the music, great. It's okay. It's okay to just be in the space and be in the vibe of hanging out with other people. And so that's one thing is like just remember that you don't have to connect with everybody. You just have to connect with one or two that you're meant to be there to connect with. And the other thing that I think is really important for networking and connecting is recognizing that we're all one. Like on the atomic level, there is no separation. We are not separated. So you can feel into the energy of the room. You're like, like a fun game is to like do the sensation, like depending on how in touch you are with your body, is to do the sensation game. So sometimes I'll stand in the room and I'll be like, feels like I need to go this way. And then I just start walking that way. And then eventually I'll run into somebody and be like, clearly I was meant to meet you today. And then I'll like feel into my body and go, which way should I go? I'm going to go this way, or I should go get some coffee right now, or I should go get a snack right now, or I'm going to go onto the balcony right now. Just following that impulse makes networking a lot more fun because it also makes it a more internal activity as opposed to an strictly external activity.
Yeah, that's kind of I like that. On vacations, there was one vacation I took where my husband was actually working and I was relaxing. Usually it's the other way around. And I was uh, told myself it was going to be a Winnie the Pooh vacation. I'm going
Okay.
to do whatever it is that, and I cannot tell you how many lucky things happened.
Right? Yes. Positive
Yes.
synchronicities for the win.
Yeah, for sure. Can you share a time when a relationship that started as transactional evolved into something more meaningful for you?
Let me think about that. I have to go pretty far back because almost all of my relationships are transformational in some way now as a result of all of the work that I've done and all the work I've helped other people do. Transactional and became transformational. Yeah, there was a business coach that I worked with many years ago. And at first, it was all about just get the 5 year plan, just get the KPIs, just get the revenue goal, la, 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 la. And he opened my mind, and the coach that he assigned me to, because he was a coach that had like a team of people that he worked with. So the coach that he assigned me to, the two of them together helped me open my mind in a way that was transformational. The things that he said, like, for example, as I went in and was just really focused on, okay, I just need a 5 year plan for the business. He looked at me and went, that's really boring. Why don't we do a 5 decade plan for your life? And I was like, that sounds like fun. And so we did. So I literally have a 5 decade plan for my life because I was starting at 42.
Mm,
And so 42 to 52 was all about foundations. How do I rebuild my self esteem? How do I lay in my good habits? How do I pay attention to my physical self? All of those pieces.
mhm.
To be fair, COVID derailed a little bit of that somewhere along the way. So I think that this decade extended a little bit to like where I'm at now. I'm 54 now, but theoretically still working. The edges can be blurry. It's fine. And then 52 to 6, so 42 to 52 foundations, 52 to 62 go broader and deeper, which is
Mm,
exactly what's happening in my practice. It's like, oh, like there's more soul in what I'm doing now. There's more mastery in what I'm doing now. There's more enjoyment in what I'm doing now. There's more love in what I'm doing now. So it's this beautiful, like broadening of my own experience, broadening my own learning, and broadening the gifts that I can bring to other people. 62 to 72 is give back. It's all about legacy. 72 to 82 is fun. And 82 to 92 is more fun. That's the aim. And so, and because what he said was, people really overestimate what they can do in a year, but they really underestimate what they can do in a decade. And so the beauty of that is it allows you to back burner some stuff. Just be like, okay, I'll get to that when I get to it. And the beauty of it is that then, even if I die tomorrow, at least I was on the right track. I have no
mm.
regrets. I'm pursuing my path. And if it all ends tomorrow, then I guess that was the end, but I don't regret anything. There's nothing I want to go back and change. There's nothing I would change about what I'm doing now. It's a really peaceful place to be. And so that
Right.
relationship became very transformational in the end. It was really good.
That's a great example. Thank you so much for that. Now, you've worked with people who have been underestimated, but who have power waiting to be reclaimed.
Mhm.
What's the difference between trying to fix your image versus learning to own your own space?
Ah, well, there's nothing wrong with you. So there's nothing to fix, first of all. You are whole and complete just as you are right in this minute. Right in this moment, you are the most perfect version of yourself that has ever existed. You might want to work on something else tomorrow, but right now, you are whole and perfect as you are. And that is the first step to really owning your space, to say, am who I am where I'm at, I love what is. Or if I don't like it, then I'm learning to enjoy the pain of not liking it. Oh, it's so delicious. And then I'm transforming it and going, okay, what is this teaching me? What is the lesson I'm here? I can't control anybody else's lessons. I can't control anybody else's learning, but I can think about my own learning. I'm in mystery school. That's what we're here for. So, what am I learning with this? And then moving forward. So, there's nothing to fix. There's only things to grow into. There's only things to unfold. There's only delicious unraveling. There's only delicious repatterning. There's only delicious weaving together again. And that's life. Like if you look at everything else in life, everything else in nature, everything cycles, and so do we. And there are cycles of growth, there are cycles of rest, there are cycles of blossoming, there are cycles of harvesting. We all live in cycles. And so that's the piece of owning your space and owning who you are, is understanding at a very deep level that you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing right at this moment, right on the planet. You chose to come here at this time to do whatever it is you're meant to do. So get doing it because we need you.
I really love that philosophy because it sort of relaxes you and it causes you to, yes, enjoy the moment and just step into it and embrace it for all its power.
Exactly.
So, one of the things that we talk about is really building that connection with ourselves so that we can build a real connection with others.
Hmm.
So, how do you help someone build that authentic relationship when they're still
Hmm.
reconnecting with their own voice and values?
It's partly what I talked about with the acceptance of you're going to build whatever relationships you're going to build authentically by being authentically where you're at. So even when you're still trying to find your own voice, you're like, well, I'm trying to find my voice. So here's a small step I can take towards trying to find my voice. And I'm going to build relationships with people from a place of I'm trying to find my voice. And chances are what will happen is you'll find other people who are also trying to find their voices. So you won't be alone in trying to find your voice. And then as you find your voice and you express yourself more, then you'll find more self-expressed people, or those people that were working on it are going to come with you. And then you're like, okay, now I've got my voice. Now what do I want to do with it? And then you're like, okay, I'm going to be here authentically making relationships from a place of now I want to share my voice. And then you're going to find people who are working on sharing their voices. And then you're going to find people that are going to help you share your voice. And then as you move through that level, then there's the next level. And it just goes on and on and on till you die. And I think if you're not dead, you're not done. So if you wake up in the morning and you're still here, then there is something for you to do. And in that moment, it may be that the something you need to do is lay still and have a nap. Maybe sleep in a
Right.
little. Maybe the something you need to do is get up and send 5 emails. Maybe the something you need to do is go out and put your feet in the grass for 5 minutes before you start your day. Maybe the something you need to do is eat something nutritious. But whatever that is, if you're not dead, you're not done. So get on with it.
Get on with it. Now, so if before we go into our insider questions,
Mhm.
and so I have several questions to ask you. That's for the insider group, the Spark members and the Unsealed members.
Yay.
How should people get a hold of you to work with you? Because I could see it would be completely empowering.
Yeah, it's really fun. We have a good time. I'm easy to find. You can find me on Instagram. Katherine Lazaruk is my handle. You can find me on LinkedIn. Katherine Lazaruk is my handle. And my website is lzrkconsulting.com. But soon we're working on katherinelazaruk.com because it's going to be a whole new thing because I'm starting a piece of my work that I can reach more people digitally more often. So come find me. Come find me. Instagram, my DMs are open. I literally will answer. I monitor my DMs. If you ask me a question, if you want to explore doing some more work with me, if you just want to hang out in my space, come and find me and I will be waiting.
Fantastic. I love it. So here are some insider questions.
Okay.
What is one way that your body specifically, or maybe even your clients, tells you that you're out of alignment in a conversation?
I get frustrated. And so it's the bodily sensation of frustration for me is constriction. Constriction and heat. Those are usually the two. So if I'm constricted and I'm hot, if it's not a hot flash, if I'm constricted and I'm hot, then I know it's like there's something going on here. And often what I'll do is I'll take a breath and I'll say, I need to interrupt you because I'm having a strong reaction that something's not out of alignment here. Give me a second to see if I can figure out what it is, and then we can go forward. So that that continued kind of figuring out doesn't distract me from what's actually going on in the room, but to pause and to honor, whew, I'm having a strong reaction. I just need a second to settle into that and clear it, and then we can move forward. But for me, it's
Mm.
constriction and heat.
Okay, I love that. And I love the script that you provide to say, okay, I've noticed this. Let's take a pause.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what physical cue helps you recenter before speaking in a high stake place?
So I love to use nervous system healing tools, which I learned from my mentor, Kate Northrup, who is amazing. Highly recommend 10 out of 10, 5 stars, completely recommend. And she taught me physical somatic practices, nervous system healing tools that actually help signal safety to my body because everything that we do is body first. All our emotions, you can't think your way out of your bodily sensations. Your nervous system is always operating to keep you safe. So what I like to do is actually do a physical practice. So there are many of them, but one of them that I like to do is called havening, which is where you have you put your hand, you run your hands one over another and you concentrate the sensation. You alternate your awareness between touching and being touched. And you continue to breathe while you do this. And that helps signal safety to the body. And so Kate taught me many of those. And then she learned them from Elizabeth Kristoff from Neurosomatic Intelligence Institute. So if anyone's interested in diving into those, you can DM me and I'll give you the links, or you can go find them. They're beautiful women. And that's one thing I like to do is just really center and settle into my body. And those tools have changed my life.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. What's your favorite question to help someone clarify how they want to be seen?
I love who are you when nobody is looking? If you have no kids to think about, no partners to think about, no pets to think about, no job to think about, no parents to think about, no family to think about, nothing. If it was just you, just in this moment, who would you be or who are you when nobody is looking? And that's a good place to start.
There you go.
Mhm.
Now, when you feel small in a room, what's one way physically to reclaim your space without saying a word?
Breathe. I breathe. And I also pay attention to the part of me that feels small. Because, of course, my eternal consciousness is not small, it's vast, but there is like a small child part of me. And that's usually the one that feels small. And that's
Uh-huh.
based on just childhood patterning. So when I notice that happening, I'll sort of internally go, hey, little self. Hey, sweetheart. Oh, you're feeling small. Okay. Want to talk about it? And then usually she'll respond something back. She's like, oh, I didn't like the way this happened. It's like, yeah, I can feel that. Okay. Okay. And then I do some soothing, self-soothing. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm back. I haven't felt small in a room for a long time because of all this work. So much
Well,
work. So many dark nights of the soul, snotty crying, breath work, yoga, exploration. The only thing I haven't tried yet is like ayahuasca. But it's like, I'm sure it's coming. But after all this work, I get to just feel the size that I am all the time, which feels great. And that's
and
what I
I
help
think,
people to do.
yeah, and and it's great work to do to really get into who you are. The unsealing process is fantastic.
So I'm sure that is because actually, you know what's so funny? When I saw that this interview was coming up, unsealing, I'm hitting a ceiling right now, like in my practice, in my work of going bigger. And I'm working that ceiling, but it was so great. I was just like, oh, I'm so glad I'm talking to Natalie today because I'm in an unsealing moment. So and I also like that it's unsealing, like CEI, sealing like the
Hmm.
ceiling, but also SEAL, unsealing.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Opening
cool.
up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't think it ever stops. I don't think the ceilings, I think, yes. And Kate often says, she goes, yesterday's ceiling is today's floor.
Yeah.
Right?
Love
And then
that.
there's always another ceiling. Yeah, yesterday's ceiling is today's floor, and that feels amazing because then it's like a rising tide, right? My
Right.
level is getting higher and higher. My energy levels are stabilizing and getting higher overall. It's just such beautiful work. So I'm glad you're out there doing it because phew, then I don't
Thank
have to
you.
do your work. Yay! And we're all on the transition team for the win to a better world. And then you're like, thank God Catherine's
Exactly.
out doing her work because then I don't have to do that work. It's like great. We're all in it together and we're all moving to something better.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate everything that you do and how you speak to helping us really find that inner light that's in us and bring it out.
Mm,
Thank you
this
so
little light
much.
of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk with you as always.
Thank you. So here's what I hope you take away from today's conversation. Leadership isn't about performing confidence, it's about embodying your truth. When your inner world and your outer world finally match, your presence speaks louder than any resume pitch or title ever could. Katherine reminds us that leadership starts with self-leadership. And when you embody that, people naturally want to follow. This is what Season 3 UnCeiling You is all about. Learning to connect authentically, lead calmly, and take bold action in the community or networking. And if you're craving a deeper reset, I'd love to invite you into something new that I'm creating. It's the UnCeiling You Leadership Reset Program. It's a program that I've created for high-performing professionals who are ready to move from overdrive to aligned drive. It's where we rebuild the foundation of leadership from pausing with intention to using fear as data to rebuilding self-trust at your core power source. It's about creating sustainable excellence instead of burnout. If this sounds like something you need, feel free to join the wait list, and it's with the link in the notes. You'll get early access, behind the scenes lessons, and a few special live events with me as we launch. And if today's episode struck a chord, share it with a friend or a colleague who is leading from an empty tank. We rise higher together when we lead from wholeness. I'm Dr. Natalie Luke. Thank you for being part of this community. And until next time, take radical responsibility for your life and watch the ripple effect unfold.